to do cursing yourself while you have to pay for it. Okay, last time you have other classes after this?
That's 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock.
Okay. I have a meeting at 1:30. Nothing in Okay. Last time we discussed road safety audit, okay, the whole procedure, and then we discussed the conflict studies. So conflicts are what they call as near accidents, okay, and we looked at some of the examples of how we can identify conflicts, and they are of 3 types, okay. Okay, conflict studies can be used in different ways. So there are 4 different methods of doing conflict studies, which are before and after, cross-sectional, reference group, and frequency method. Okay, as we have discussed earlier, conflict studies are very helpful when you have done some changes on the road or the street or the intersection, and you want to see if the change is effective in reducing crashes or not. You cannot wait for years and the crashes to happen before you know that the change is working or not. Okay, so in those cases, conflict studies are very helpful. So these 4 methods are basically focusing on that aspect, where we are looking to find out if the change is useful or not, okay, and we cannot wait for a long time. So before and after studies, we have taken traffic between, right? Yeah. So there was before and after study in traffic as well for speed. Okay, you have to collect before data, you collect after data, you are lost, right? What is your info?
I think
Yes, very good, very honest. Okay. So the point is, you do a conflict study before and the conflict study after. Okay, before the change, after the change. Okay. So you have now you can compare conflict study after with the crash data before, but that would be you are comparing fruits with fruits, but they are like apples and bananas. Okay. So that's why a conflict study before will give you a better comparison, because you're comparing between the same things now. Okay. The problem with this is you need to know that you need to do a conflict study before as well. Okay. Like somebody designed, somebody decided we will change something on this location, and they changed. The change already happened. Now they are asking you to evaluate if the change is useful or not. But the time for before study already passed. So this is the major problem. If you already planned a before study and you did that and you did after study, then this will be very effective, because you are focusing on one location, you know the problem, and that this can be done very quickly as well. Okay, because you know when you make the change what type of conflicts are creating the problem. That's why you made the change. So the after study, you only focus on that change, and even a short period of observation can tell you if the change was effective or not. Then we have cross-sectional study. So in the remaining 3 methods, we are trying to do the same thing but without the before data. We are trying to see if the change was effective without using the before data. Okay, so one of them is doing cross-sectional study. So in this case, we have the after data for our site, and then we look for other sites which are in the before condition. So let's say your before condition was without a speed hump. There was a highway, 3 lane, this much speed limit, this one, whatever. Okay, and then you introduce a speed hump for some reason. Okay, so now I have to see if the speed hump is effective or not. So I look for similar sites, we do not have speed hump. And I will compare this site with those. Okay, if this site has less conflicts than the other sites, that means the speed hump has an error. Got it? This is called as a cross-sectional method. Okay. Then we have the reference group. Okay. In the reference group method, we are looking for similar sites. Okay. Similar sites which are having the same characteristics as your site. Okay. So if it is with the speed hump, then the other sites with the speed hump. Okay, and so on. And then you compare with the average conflict rates. Okay, so if this site does not have any specific safety problem, then the number of conflicts on this site should be similar to the other sites. Similar means what? Whatever is the average, it should be closer to the average. Okay, whatever is above the average should make an alarm. Whatever is below the average is good. Got it? So in the reference group method, we are saying, okay, I don't want to see what happened before. I'm not interested in the effect of this speed hump or whatever. I'm just interested in knowing if this site is more dangerous than the other similar sites or not. Got it? Okay. So here we are comparing with the before condition sites. Here, same. And then the last one, sorry. So this is a reference or example data for which type? So for example, they have given us 4 different types of intersections. For each type of intersection, they have calculated average rate of conflicts. Okay. So you can see the 90th percentile, the 95th percentile, the mean, the variance, and so on. Okay. So if your site has a rate which is more than this, then there is a problem. But if it is closer to this or less than this, our site is same as the other site. No problem. So here you can see they are doing it for different types of conflicts. Okay. So for example, you added a median or you added an island to get rid of this problem. Okay. So now you can compare the conflict rate of your site with the normal conflict rate of similar sites. Okay. So in this way you can still focus on the problem for which you did the change. You are focusing on the type of conflict for which you did. But okay. So here you can see the problem as well. And you see the description of the site, signalized intersection with a traffic volume of more than 25,000 vehicles per day. And obviously, when I'm calculating mean and variance, I cannot do it with 1 or 2 values. I need a lot of data. Okay, and that lot of data should come from a lot of sites. If you took a lot of data from one site, it's one site. Okay. So I cannot compare my site with another site and say, okay, this is normal or not normal. Okay. So the problem with this method is you need a lot of data of a specific type of site. Okay. So this can be problematic. It may need time. You may have to keep a database of such things and so on. Okay. Then we have the frequency method. In the frequency method, you calculate conflicts as a rate. Okay, so conflicts can be, they have written here somewhere. Yeah, conflict can be per unit of vehicles, per unit of traffic, or it can be per unit of time as well, per hour. If it's a signal, then it can be per cycle as well. Okay, so conflicts are calculated at frequencies, meaning they are calculated as rates. Okay. So in this case, we don't need a before data, we don't need other sites data. So it becomes easy to apply, okay, than the other methods. So in this case, we need, if you are studying a site, for this site we need two types of data. One is the conflict data itself, and the other one is the data for which you take the rate. Okay, so the most common thing or the most logical thing to do is calculate the rate, the conflict rate on the basis of traffic. Okay, more vehicles, more conflicts, right? Okay, so if you have a site which has low volume, and you say that okay, I will calculate conflict rate per day or per hour, it will give you a very low value just because the volume is low. Okay, so calculating per unit of traffic is more realistic, it's more practical. Okay, so this is an example. There they applied a new type of interchange which is called as a diverging diamond interchange. Okay, so in this case, you can later on have, you have the slides, right? You have the slides. Okay, so there are arrows given which are showing where each ramp is going. But you can see it's crisscrossing, right? It's going like this. And there are signals here. These points are basically signals. And each of these points is basically a crossing. You can see lots of crossing here and lots of signals. So it meets the purpose of having an interchange, but it's there. So when they applied the interchange, they started receiving complaints that this is having a problem. Okay, so what they did a conflict study there. They had the same problem, they could not do a before study. Okay, they were too confident we will have this new design. Nobody had it in the world, so everybody will be happy, which is not happening obviously. And it's a unique design. So you cannot have similar sites. This condition. Okay. So the other methods are not so useful here. So they did a conflict study, and the complaints they received were for the crossing points. Okay. So the conflict study focused on the crossing points. So you can see the numbers over here. Okay. Each crossing point they had some observers, and those observers were recording. Okay. And you can see what type of conflicts they have. Okay. Some of them are conflicts and some of them are driver mistakes, driver errors. They are calling it erratic maneuvers. Okay. So they recorded both of them because according to them, if the design is creating confusion for the driver, this is still a problem. Okay. So now what's the difference between erratic maneuver and a conflict? In a conflict, you have two parties involved. Okay, two parties involved. So one of them is trying to, one of them could handle the other party, and somehow they avoid it. Okay, so this is a conflict. But there are cases in which you are not hitting somebody. You are just saving yourself. You may have gone on and hit the barrier, okay, or the curb, or you may be driving in between the two lanes, or you may have just stopped suddenly at the stop line. Okay, so there was nobody in front of you, but you stopped suddenly. Your braking was very hard. So these are called as erratic maneuvers. The driver did something rash, but there was no other driver or no other road user involved. There was only one driver. So this is the difference between them. But still, it shows the problem. Okay, so they are using conflict rates per unit cycle. Okay, so they observe the cycles. So there are two signals here at which they were doing it, or there were two sites here. Sorry, not two signals, two sites. This is called side B and this is called side A. So this side was observed for 86 signals and this side was observed for 100 signals. And these are the conflicts they observed. Okay. And then you can see the rates. Okay. Now why the rates are important here? Why should I do the rates? But what if I just take the number?
To see which is causing the problem. Which part is causing more problem.
But they are at the same time.
Comparing the side A.
Yes, comparing side A to side B because I did not take the same, I did not take it for the same number of sides. Okay. So, anyways, you can see over here. Okay. Side A has a problem, signal compliance. Okay. Side B also has a problem of signal compliance. Side B has a problem of merging as well. A big problem. Side A has smaller one, but still it's high. Okay, so this one is high, this one is high, and this one is also very high. Okay, so we have lane changes issues, we have merging issues, we have signal compliance issues. Okay, so this is what they come up with. I believe they are the recommendations. Okay, so they are saying the signal compliance could be because, if there is signal compliance issue, what does it mean? When the signal was just about to become red, the drivers, so they were not planned, nobody plans to go on red, most of them. Okay. So what you are actually doing is you are taking the chance from yellow. Okay. So most of the issues are because of that. But they say that it could be because the signal cycles are very long. Okay. And this could happen because because of the design of the interchange. Okay. You are trying to allow too many people from different sides. So it is making the cycle very long. Okay. So you can consider dividing the cycle length into half. Okay. So you will still have the same green time the whole hour, but at shorter intervals. So for example, it was 60 seconds on green and 60 seconds off red. Now you are saying no, make it 30, 30, 30, 30. So in the end it's still 60, but that 60 is going to 30 and 30. Okay. So this has usually a better effect on the driver psychology because they think that after like a few seconds I'm moving. Okay, even if I don't cross, at least I'm moving. Okay. So this is for signal compliance, and we have the merging problem, right? The merging problem is okay, this is the merging problem. Okay, there we have the merging problem. Okay, so people are coming from either the ramp side or this side, and they are trying to merge with this traffic. Okay, so for the merging problem, they are saying that yes. So basically, when you are coming up from the ramp, you are not expecting somebody to come from the other side. Okay, so driver may need a better side distance when they are coming up and they are making the turn. So they need to look at the other side in advance. Okay, so we will not have the merging conflict points. So basically meaning that if they can see the traffic in advance before they come to the crossing point, these type of conflicts will be less. Because if you see here, if I am merging onto here, this could be blocking my side. If I am merging on from here, this could be blocking my side, and so on and so forth. So there is some blockage at all these or most of these merging points. And then for lane changing, okay, so why would people change lanes? This is because of the crossover movement. So I am coming from here and I have to go in this direction. I am coming from here, I have to go in this direction. Okay, so you see the crossing movements here. Okay, so this crossing movements can force the people to change their lanes. Okay, you usually avoid that. avoid the lanes from where the people are coming. So you can slide, this can be causing the lane changes, unnecessary lane changes or sudden lane changes. So they are recommending here that we should have better channelization. Both of you have taken traffic and math, right? Channelization is what? Channelization. This is written actually. Better symbols, markings, okay, it's all done with channelization. Pavement markings, arrow signs, this all comes under channelization, okay. Even the traffic islands which you have to separate the lanes, it also comes under channelization. So they are saying that you make the lanes very visible, make them with the arrow signs, and try to separate them as much as possible so that people know they don't have to cross. Okay. We have discussed up till now two proactive methods, including the conflict studies and the road safety audit. These are proactive because we are not waiting for the accidents to happen. Then we come to the reactive method, which is the collision analysis. Collision means accidents. Okay, so now we have accident data available. How to analyze this data? Okay, now even in this field, lot of advancement has been made because now we have technology available. Okay, so in terms of analyzing the accidents, I don't just rely on the numbers. I can, first of all, even if I rely on the numbers, I have better algorithms available which can analyze the data. Okay. Secondly, I can reproduce what is actually happening on the sites. Okay. I have simulation technologies available. Okay. I have, for example, a spatial technique, GIS available. Okay. So I can look at the problematic points over the whole city in one map. Okay, a digital map, an interactive map, and I can look into what are the problems on those points and so on. Okay, so a lot of things are combined here. Yeah, what are we trying to when we analyze collision data? Basically, we are looking for the causes, right? What is causing the accidents? Okay, so and obviously the causes can be multiple. Even one crash, one accident can have multiple causes. I give the example of the Swiss cheese. Okay, that you have, you may have an accident in which the driver was not paying attention, and there was a design problem as well. Okay, so obviously we cannot cover all the causes. So we are trying to identify the most significant causes. Okay, so this is the main aim of this analysis, that what is causing most of the accidents. Okay, first of all, the first step in this analysis is the data itself. Okay, now for the conflict study, for the road safety audit, you can plan, right? You will go to the site on this day, on this time, and this to be our team, and you will do the data collection. What about collision analysis? Can we plan? You can plan.
Or when you're taking the data for conference. Or when you're taking the data, you
Yes.
actually have to plan.
You can plan.
Always have to plan.
Very good. So you guys will plan today how long it's going to have an accident on this site. accident data. We cannot plan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has to be taken then and there. Okay, so it must be taken immediately, first of all, okay, because after the scene is cleared, you don't know the exact location of the vehicles, you don't know the exact causes, you need to see the conditions, okay, the road condition may change, the weather condition may change, light condition may change, okay, so it should be recorded as soon as possible. And who will record it? In most of the cases, it will be the police. In many situations, there are, especially for serious accidents, there are departments, government departments, like we have the, what do you call it, civil defense, right? Okay, or the medical emergency units, okay, which handle the people who get injured in accidents. Okay, so they maintain their own data as well, and usually that data includes the accident situation as well. Okay, so in Pakistan we have a service which is basically for providing emergency medical service. Okay, they come, their main aim is to take the injured people and provide them with the necessary assistance, medical assistance. But when they are recording, then when they make a file, they record the accident details, what type of vehicle, where the accident happened, why it happened, and so on. So they maintain. Even if you go to, for example, the emergency cases in Bahrain, most of the times they do Salman. Right? So if you go there, you will find a complete record. Okay. But the main point is it must be taken on the first response. The data must be taken on the first response. It can be taken on paper, okay, or it can be taken with apps and devices and so on. Okay. Some important information: who was involved in the crash, what type of vehicle was there, what were the roadway characteristics. Okay, 3 more important items, because they will tell you the reason as well, the cause as well. Condition at the time of collision, the time, the weather condition, the lighting condition, how the accident happened. Okay, so there is a report. So recently, I read a paper, very nice. It was for Saudi Arabia, and what they did was, like even here, you have an accident report, right? Where you write or type. Now you do online. So you type how the accident happened. Okay. So what they did using AI. Okay. You might be thinking, okay, we use AI. They are using AI. They are doing the right. No. What they are doing is they are using AI to train the model, the AI model, to identify which situation causes accident from the report, not from the factors, from the report itself. So they identify the most common keywords. Okay, and the interesting thing was the reports obviously they had. Okay, they took it from the police data. The police data was written error. So the reports were narrated. So the model is translating it, and then it generates scenarios which can result in crash, result in accident. Okay. So the good thing about that is that because when you are saying it, okay, you see a lot of details which are not in the factors. You cannot see it in the accident data. Okay. Nobody pays attention to it. Okay. Like you were distracted, or it was very hot, or the sun was very low, and these things. Okay. Usually the data which we record is what? Number of lanes, 2 lanes, 3 lanes. But the person who is saying it may say the third lane just started. Okay, but there were 3 lanes and it became 2 lanes. The person may say it. Okay, but you will record what? 2 lanes. Getting the point? So, coming back to the point, these reports, these narratives in the present scenario with the language, these are called the language learning models, right? The things which you are using, ChatGPT and Claude and DeepSeek and whatever, these are called as language learning models. They are learning from what we are saying, right? So they can learn from the description of the events. Okay. And according to them, they got like more than 90% accuracy when they tested the model. Okay. And then a sketch of how the accident happened as well. Obviously, this sketch can be man-made or it can be digital. Okay. And many countries are now making their accident data available, complete. Obviously, without the identification. There's no identification of the vehicle of the driver, but the rest of the data is available. So these are some of the agencies which are doing it. Okay. So in one of our research papers, we took data from 5 different countries, and even like we had to limit ourselves because the data was huge. So we limited ourselves. Okay. For example, for US, you only use the data for one state, but their data is available for all the states. Okay. So you can have a look, and the good thing about this data is it's in interactive form. So you can go, you can generate your own queries. Then I only want the data for these years, or I only want the data for cars. I only want the data for this location. Okay, it's very interactive, and you can look into these things. Okay, when you are recording the data, when you are reporting the data, we should use the checklist. Okay, so that you don't miss it. Because the timing is very important. We did the same thing with the audit, road safety audit as well. That you have a checklist. Okay, because the checklist helps you to remind you that there are things which you should look for. Okay, and then, for example, the point of collision with the car. Okay, so you have a checklist. Okay, where did it hit? I take it. Okay, which of these things were there? Okay, so you make a checklist of the things which you normally record for the accident data. Okay, then some particular collisions, okay, accidents. Okay, so these are called as non-collision. Okay, the first type of collision is non-collision. Okay, then we have collision of a motorcycle with something else, collision of two or more, not motorcycle, motor vehicle, a car. Okay, a collision of motor vehicle with something, and collision of motor vehicle with two or more motor vehicles. Okay, so in the non-collision, there is only one vehicle involved. Minimum damage, right? People are only killing themselves, no one else. Okay, this much is allowed, right? No. Okay, so you can see car right off the road. Okay, or jackknife means that may have seen in the movie, like there is a barrier in front of you. Like when you are coming on the road, so this is a bridge. So you see on the end of the bridge there is a barrier, and then you can go like this with this. This is jackknife. Okay. You don't go here and then go straight on. But anyways, you see the point. Okay, so non-collision, there is no other road user involved. Okay. Second time, the other road users involved. Okay, even animals, and then we have two or more vehicles. Okay. So this is again, it can be, the list can be longer as well. That was according to type of accident. This is according to the result of the accident. Okay, so there is classification of how the accident happened, and there is classification of what happened because of the accident. What number? Okay, so that is called as the CAPCO or FAPCO scale, which is according to the result of the accident. Also called as the injury code. Okay, so CAPCO, K stands for killed. Okay, or F is fatality, meaning the same thing, right? So the first result in this scale is adult. Okay, any one death is well. So when we are classifying the accidents according to the result, any party which has the highest severity level, the accident will be classified according to that type, according to the highest severity to any party. Okay, so for example, there were 3 people involved in the accident. Okay, obviously maybe one of them died, but this accident will be called as scale K or F. But you will not say that it is K for this person, but for this person it is something else. No, the whole accident is of the highest severity type. Got it? Okay. So I told you K is what? K. Okay. Then we have A, B, C, O, and I don't know what it is. Okay. Why it is A and B and C? I don't know. Okay. But I can tell you the severity. What the severity means. A means the person is seriously injured. Okay, he has to go to the hospital and he has to be hospitalized. Okay, so that is what A means. Why it is called A, I don't know. Okay, you got it now? So K, I know why K is called. A means K. And why F? F means fatal. But A, God knows. Okay. B, injury is serious, but he doesn't have to be hospitalized. Okay, like he may need some medical attention, some ventilator, something. Okay, but he is stable and he can, he can be like after the medical attention, he can be sent home. Then C is the one which you guys have every semester, and you have to decide which exam to give on this day. Okay. Because for the other exam, you go to the doctor and you tell him that I have this problem. Okay, and the poor guy has to trust it, right? If she or he is saying they have a stomach pain or headache or they cannot sleep properly, they are hearing voices, they have to trust it, right? And then they give you the certificate, right? That's useful. So the C is that type. Okay. The person is saying I am injured. Okay, whether you see it or not, I am injured. Okay, and O is property damage only. Okay, so no injuries at all, no reported injuries. Okay, in Bahrain they have this. This is from the police data. Okay, so which one is missing? C and O is missing, right? Okay. Why? Because it's not police data. Okay. Normally, for less serious accidents, people will report. Okay. So most of the data which is covered by the police is these types. Okay. So you can see that it makes like full 100%. There could be some property damage accidents, but it's not there. Okay, and it's not only in Bahrain, it happens all around the world. Normal phenomena, you got a scratch or something, it's settled it out. Okay. Okay. What are the common problems in collecting data for crashes? Okay. First one I already mentioned. First one. Yeah. Okay. People want many crashes which are unreported. Second is problem with the location. Okay. So people say we had an accident near Rifa Clock Tower. Okay. Obviously, you cannot have it on the clock tower. Okay. Not the top. What type of mark? What do you call it? The Rifa tower. Sit down. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, when we say Rifa Clock Tower, doesn't mean we had it on the Rifa Clock Tower. It must be one of the roads. It could be on the roundabout. It could be on the road. It could be entering the entry road or could be the exit road. It could be in the side lane, it could be on the shoulder. Okay. So problem with the correct location. Secondly, severity changing. Okay. So the person looked stable at the time of accident, and later on, he went home. Later on, they found that there was a little bleeding. Okay. So change it. So something which was recorded as very minor may have resulted in a death later on. Okay. So this problem, collision type is incorrect. Now, the first one is collision severity result. The next one is collision type. So it was head-on collision, okay, but it was reported as, right-angle, something like this, okay. Then roadway characteristics are reported incorrectly. Maybe the number of lanes were incorrect. Maybe there was a shoulder did not reported. Okay, there was a median. There was some work going on. There was a problem with the road pavement. They had not recorded the pavement was wet or something. Okay, so these are usually the problems which we have. Now, collisions or accidents happen randomly. Okay, again going back to the Swiss cheese example. So they happen very randomly and they are very few. Okay, they are very few. So you cannot rely on data which is only taken for a short period of time. We should collect data for an extended time. In this case, the extended time is up to 3 years. Anything which is less than 3 years is not considered reliable. You can still have a look at it. You can still use it. Where have we discussed accident data? Where have we used accident data before in this course? It was 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, something like this. If we have these many crashes in 2 years, we should do this. Where was that? Yes, it was for intersections. From what? So if I observe right-angle crashes, 10 crashes in 1 year, what's it? Make a study. We already found 10 crashes, one study because people are dying. How are you studying? Why the question? Okay, and then? In the design, yes, it was part of the warrants. Okay, we studied warrants for different control device organization. Okay, so those warrants depended upon short-term data, 1 year, 2 years. So they have a specific number. If you reach that number, you don't go wait for 2 more years. No, I need 3 years of data. Okay, you reach 10 crashes. Okay, specific time on this intersection. The warrant is fulfilled. Then you go for the device which the warrant is asking for. Okay. Okay, I'll stop here.